What's good, y'all? Back again, another day. And today, what we're talking about is charting your own path. But before we get into that, make sure that you do the routine. You know what time it is. Make sure you drink your water. Also, make sure to drop a like on my previous videos if you've seen them already. Make sure to drop on a like on this video if you find value on this joint. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure to leave a comment if you find any value in this information that I'm providing. And of course, make sure that you share so that we can get this message across the air. Guys, I cannot talk today. I don't know what's going on. I am tripping big time. But anyways, what I wanted to talk about is charting your own path. Everybody has their own journey. Everybody has their own goals. Everybody has their own life to live. There's nobody that's designed like you with the same exact DNA. It's chemically impossible. It's physically impossible. It's literally impossible in every sense of the word. Everybody has their own journey and everybody has their own story to tell. A lot of times we deal with pressure because we feel like other people are trying to impose their wills on us, or they're trying to force us to live their stories, or they're comparing us to other people. Don't feed into any of that. You have to do what's best for you, and you have to chart your own course. You have to determine your own value, and you have to know your worth. So, the biggest thing is just understanding what you bring to the table, what type of value that you have, and be willing to do whatever it takes to bring that value into fruition. If that means sometimes you have to step down to come up, you have to do what you have to do. A lot of people didn't know for at least a good 5 or 6 months I was working at Food Line at a point in time because things got hard. I had to do what I had to do, and I didn't have a car, and I was walking the Food Line. I think I put that in another video, but yeah. So every now and then there's times where things slow down, or it seems like you're not moving on the path that you want, or you have to pivot or get off your direction and go a different route. But as long as you have that same mentality and you do what you have to do, you'll get it back. Like, I think I was only down for a little bit of time, and then boom, I was right back in a different scene, in a different direction. I was back rolling. So don't ever get too proud or too confident, or yeah, too confident to feel like you can't do something. If there comes a time where you gotta be doggone scooping up poop off the side of the road, and that's the only thing that you can get, you gotta do what you gotta do. Especially in today's era where millennials are in the news constantly for not having it as good as our parents had it. And that's another thing. Don't let your parents hold it against you, because what they don't understand is the economy that they lived in is totally different from the economy that we live in. And I'm not making excuses, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't work hard and you shouldn't go out there and get it. But what I'm telling you is it's statistically proven. We've lived through the Great Recession. There was no recession like this before since the doggone Great Depression. So we're living through COVID-19. We're living through all different types of pandemics. We're living through 9/11. We're the generation that grew up through a lot of different trials and tribulations. I guess the closest you could think of would be maybe the people that grew up through the Great Depression once again, and the World War, through World War One, probably World War Two. Those were the generations. That's what we're stacked up against. Our parents' generation, they didn't really go through stuff like that. Of course, every generation has different problems and different things that they go through. But our generation has been through a lot of different traumas and pains that, a lot of things that they didn't do fell back on us as well. So you got to keep that in mind when you're out here trying to chart your course and pick your path and face your destiny. Um, Understand that the times are different, and you might just have to do what you have to do in order to sponsor those dreams and support bigger things. Um, Social media makes it really cool to say, yo, I do XYZ, or I do this and that, but there's no easy way to get success unless you go out there and you grind, no matter what it is. And sometimes you fail. Sometimes you're not moving as fast as other people want you to. My favorite author, Robert Greene, he didn't write his first book until he was in his mid to late 30s. And I read a lot of his interview. I watched a lot of his interviews rather, and he was talking about how the whole time he was trying to figure it out, his parents thought that he was losing his mind and he was going crazy or he was just a bum. But the whole time, everything that he went through was preparing him for the experiences that gave him what he needed in his material to write his book. And then the books that came after that. You look at anybody that was famous. Dick Gregory, he's another one. I read one of his books, and he was talking about how he went through it for years before he actually popped. Jay Prince, if you haven't read The Art and Science of Respect, it's on iTunes. If you have an iTunes subscription, you can listen to the entire book, or Apple Music rather. If you have an Apple Music subscription, you can listen to the entire book. And he tells you how he was making money before he got into rap. And then he lost all his money investing in rap, but he kept going. And it took him like 7 years before he finally popped. So there is no time limit. There's no time frame. Colonel Harlan Sanders, of course, you know we stole the recipe. We know where that came from. But before he finally decided to package and sell it, he was in his late 60s, early 70s, if I'm not mistaken. So you never know when it's going to work out for you or when you're going to materialize and come into fruition of your butterfly instead of being the caterpillar. But when you're in your caterpillar stage, don't let anybody discourage you. Don't let anybody, you know what I'm saying, change your mentality or try to make you feel bad because you're not where they expect you to be or where they want you to be. You have your own path that you have to follow. Your path is going to encounter, you're going to encounter bumps and bruises on your path that nobody else has dealt with and they can't give you advice for because they've never done it. A lot of people that give you advice, they haven't done the things that they're telling you to do, but they're just telling you what they think they would do if they were in that situation. And you got to understand that and learn how to decipher it. And I always say I don't take advice from people that I don't want to be like or people that can't that I know can't they don't have any type of credibility to get me to where I'm going. So I know I wanted to be in real estate and I made my mind up that I was going to figure out how to make money in real estate. So if you're a mechanic, I'm not going to listen to you tell me about real estate if you've never done a real estate deal before or if you've never if you don't know anything about real estate other than the market crashed in the recession, then we don't have nothing to talk about because you don't know how real estate works. You don't know what real estate is to a certain degree. All you know is you pay your rent every month or you pay your mortgage every month, and that's that. You probably think that a real estate investor is the same thing as a real estate agent, and it's not. So you got to be able to filter out and you got to have thick skin because if you're really hard down on your journey and your path and you're going to go through it whatever no matter what people say or what it goes through, you're going to deal with a lot of backlash and a lot of stress and a lot of people saying little snide comments, people not really understanding your vision, people wanting you to do what makes them happy instead of what makes you happy. And you got to understand that that just comes with the territory. As long as you're chasing your vision, you're going to have detractors that want you to do what makes them comfortable or what they're used to or what they expect. And you got to learn how to just put that to the side and go after what works for you and continue to do it no matter what, you know. And that's the true sign of somebody that's seriously dedicated to their craft. There's a lot of people, man, I remember one time, and it's always funny when I think about it. Like, my mom had a whole intervention for me because she thought that I lost my mind and I was in some type of Ponzi scheme or what are those things? Multi-level marketing companies, and I just had no idea what I was doing, and I was just following people blindly. And it's like I had to sit up there in front of my whole family at the time and just listen to them tell me about how I needed to do X, Y, Z, and how I have a kid and I need to make sure that I'm doing what's best for them. And it's like, how can you tell me what's best for me to do for my child? Like what you think or what you define as best may not be what I define as best. And it may be different and nobody may understand it, but I understand it and it makes sense to me. So I'm going to go through it. And it was a long period of time where it was just crazy because I knew that no matter what, I was going after this thing and I was going to make it happen. And that's the type of mentality that you have to have, and that's what you have to understand. Don't wait for permission from anybody. You control your life. You determine what is going to happen in your story. You're the actor, you're the director, you're the star. It's your movie. If you don't take control and have an internal locus of control over your life, then you're just going to be forced to take whatever people give you. And people give you whatever they feel like you deserve. So if they think that you're just this lowly person that won't stand up for themselves, and it's just this bum, and they don't really, have much respect for you, then that's how they're gonna treat you. But if you demand, even in the worst situations, in the worst scenarios, when you don't have anything, if you demand to be treated a certain way, and you feel a certain way, and you have certain expectations, that's what people are gonna give you. So you always got to make sure that you're 10 toes down, and you believe in yourself, and you believe in your path more than anybody else, because nobody's gonna will you through. You have to be able to believe it and feel it for yourself. And from there, everybody else, if they don't understand it, you'll have the courage and the strength to just say, you know what, forget it. This is my journey. This is my destination. This is what I'm going to do. You know, there's been plenty of times, man, where I personally have lost a lot, but I kept going and I keep going, and you should too. Whatever it is that you want to do, it's attainable, it's possible, And sometimes you can't listen to yourself. It was one time, man, things were so bad, I literally couldn't listen to myself think. So what I did was I had "Be Obsessed or Be Average" by Grant Cardone on audio, and I would just put that in and listen to the same chapter over and over and over. It was Feed the Beast and Feed the Beast. There's two of them. Feed the Beast and Starve the Doubt. So I listened to Feed the Beast over and over and over and over and over and over. Like just that one chapter, I would listen to Feed the Beast over, and I just keep listening to it because something that he said, he was like, sometimes you can't. Literally, what I said. Sometimes you can't trust your own thinking. You have to listen to somebody else. And so that's literally what I did. I would listen to that same chapter everywhere. If I'm getting in the car to go somewhere and I'm feeling bad, put it on, listen to it consistently, and it helped out a lot because once again, I knew my mind was poisoned. I had a lot of people in my ear, trying to persuade me of doing one thing that I wasn't agreeing with, and so I had to brainwash myself to think differently. And that's what you're going to have to do if you're going after anything. If you just want to be average and get a job and run through it, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But if you want to get a job and take your money and invest in something and build something, it's going to come with obstacles. It's going to come with roadblocks. But it's up to you to persevere and dig through it and become phenomenal. Or, even if you are at your job, then you shouldn't just settle for working. You should be the best, smartest, brightest person at your job and then see what happens from there. But that's it for this one. It's short and sweet. Just wanted to get that message out there for you. Um, you are responsible for your own life. You have to take care of your path. You have to control your journey. And then this, if I'm talking about paths, I gotta say this. So it's always harder for the people that build the roads than for the people that ride on the road. Just think about that. Remember, any freeway, next time you're on the road, just think about it. Somebody had to take some type of tools and they had to create a new path that wasn't there before. Somebody did that so that you can ride on it every day and get where you need to go. Somebody with an idea decided that they were going to create a road, and then you get to ride on it every day. So just keep that in mind. All right.